Welcome to What Business Leaders Need to Know Amidst the COVID-19 Crisis with Annette Walter, CEO of iEvolve Consulting. I'm Heidi Richards Mooney, founder of Women in Ecommerce and host of the EnterprenHer Show, and it's my pleasure to bring you today's program. Let me tell you a little bit about our guest. Annette Walter is a trusted advisor and savvy company strategist who has built her career managing business operations and development, marketing, and financial analysis for both private and public companies. Her dedication to providing excellence in everything she does started early in her career when she ranked in the top 1% in customer service nationally as a top producer for SunTrust Mortgage. Prior to acquiring Timber, she was Chief Operating Officer and co-founding partner of the Strata Group, a full-service residential real estate firm, which was ultimately acquired by Berkshire Hathaway. By the way, Annette, my very first banking experience was with SunTrust Bank in South Florida. So this is very cool. Currently, as the president and owner of Timber Industries, Annette is the visionary of the team and has overall responsibility for the direction of the company. The company services the manufacturing and goods industry and continues to grow year over year under Annette's leadership and her amazing team. As Walter was transitioning companies, she uncovered her true passion of helping small to mid-sized business owners. In 2012, she founded iEvolve Consulting to help owners propel their companies to the next level by developing their professional expertise, strategy, and internal structure. Please help me welcome Annette.
Thank you.
Oh, we're so delighted, Annette, to have you here today. So let's get started with our interview because I know we all want to get right into this topic. It's so important right now. So with all we're experiencing during this pandemic, including business, family, and health challenges, we're delighted you're here to give us your insights on getting through and coming out on the other side, to position our businesses to stay viable and survive this season of uncertainty. So I guess the number one question on many people's minds is the struggle to find the right way to conduct business and need to understand what we should be doing in our business. In other words, where do we begin?
Well, thank you for that warm introduction. It's, not often that you kind of pause and reflect on the path until you really hear it out loud. So that was a lovely introduction. Thank you so much. And I'm so happy to be here with you and your audience and the wonderful things that you're doing in your community, which is so important right now. So where do you begin? There are so many different elements to the season that we are in right now. It's a health epidemic. It's an economic epidemic, and it's also a mental wellness epidemic. So I think when you really go forward with those three priorities in mind, making sure that your mental wellness is in check and that your health is in check, and that your financial situation for your business and your household is in check, that's really the best place to start. You saw as we are witnessing and going through week 6 of this, right? It's about week 6 for all of us. There were so many different stages of each week. One week was navigating, working from home. Actually, prior to that, the week was decisiveness and decisions, the hard decisions that business owners had to make about the safety of their clients and the safety of their teams, right? Then it was navigating all of the different hardware and software and communications, and people now being at home with a full house of kids and spouses and various different elements happening, right? It seemed like everybody kind of claimed their own little corner of the house, right? And then they felt planted. Then we went through the cycle of routine. And right now, I think I've coached a lot of business owners. I think I was on a Zoom call with over 100 people yesterday. And I think a lot of people right now are at the point of acceptance. They are feeling solid. They are feeling good. They are feeling and being positive, and they are at a point of acceptance. They are letting go of what wasn't necessarily important. And I think they're at that state of awareness. And it's a day by day, minute by minute play, and checking in with your team, checking in with yourself, and checking in with your household, and making sure that your health and your mental and your financial situation are solid, I think is, the best place to kind of methodically go about it.
So then the next question would be, and I agree with you 100%. I think that it's funny. I have a sense of calm, but I've pretty much had it the entire time, except maybe that first week. And the first week was because I was being separated from my children and grandchildren, because each of them have their own households, and not being able to be together. And it didn't make sense practically for all of us to be together, so we have animals and kids and stuff like that. But I think that once I got over that, it was like a sense of calm, because like every tragedy and experience in life, these things hopefully end up bringing us out to another level or another place that we might not have expected, but maybe it's going to be a good thing. So getting there, though, there are certain things we need to have in place. And one of the things is obviously surviving in business. So a lot of people want to know, first of all, I think, if they can still apply for stimulus money. So maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
Okay. So as you know, with the stimulus relief plans, a lot of the states really released their funds and their relief programs state by state initially. Then about, I'd say, 5 to 7 days after that, along came the CARES Act, okay? And the biggest relief program was the PPP Fund. And at this point, it was such an interesting thing to watch, because each bank approached the situation in a different way. There were some local savings and loan banks that were writing the applications and submitting the applications by hand to the SBA, and there were other larger banks that in fact waited to get their portal established and then had almost missed the mark completely and dropped the ball. So there was a mad rush to the races through all of this. I do know as we speak today, which is April 23rd, that I know of some banks that are still accepting applications and processing ones in the queue as SBA releases funds and says that they're available with the second round. But then some banks are saying we're at capacity. We can't take any new applications because we need to get to those in the queue, which can be up to thousands of applications that they weren't able to get to through the process.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, I don't know how many people are applying, but I applied like a week later than when they first came out. And one of my friends applied probably the same day, and she still has not heard. So I imagine, like you said, it depends bank to bank. So I didn't realize that. So thank you. Thank you.
It does. And, and that's when the power of the network and the community and having, using those resources to have the pulse check of what's working for business owners, the smaller and mid-sized business owners, to really help them through that.
Yeah. And you can't just pick up the phone and say, hey, how's my application going? Because they probably have no clue. There's so many.
With some banks you could. I was texting the president to a small savings and loan bank here in Maryland, and he was extremely responsive. And it just, it doesn't have to do with anything. Even if you had a solid relationship with your banker, solid go-to relationship, if their banking institution was handling the protocol and the process differently, it was almost out of their control, which put them in a really hard situation.
Yeah. Well, that's what's happened with our bank, because they have no answers yet, which is fine, because we understand with the sheer masses of people who've been applying and not hearing.
Right.
I think that's the scary part. So for those businesses, especially who need money, who are maybe just barely making it, they aren't even be able to even open their doors because the way they serve the public. What can they be doing to survive right now?
So, there's a very interesting conversation happening right now about from those that received the money, okay, for the payroll. In the midst of that, they've had to lay off their complete um, staff and all of the people on their team. Now they have this money to finally pay them, and the people don't want to come back because they're making more on unemployment because of the surge of the $600, okay?
Right.
Which that surge lasts for 13 weeks. The stimulus money lasts 8 weeks the day it hits your account, okay? So there's an interesting timing thing that these companies and these small business owners are asking their people to come back, but they don't want to come back. And then if they do come back, there's not work for them to actually do. So how to, give them a list of projects, and what I've been advising and saying, put them to work, make an ongoing list of projects, even if it's just, cleaning and filing, maybe uploading all of your paperwork to scan files. Find a list of ongoing projects so that we can get them working again if they're able to come back and wanting to come back. So for those that didn't get the PPP fund, it is crucial, and this was really, kind of phase one of going through this before we even knew of the relief funds, is to be looking at every single line item on your expenses, okay? Trimming the fat where you can on your variable expenses, and on your fixed expenses like rent, mortgage, really talking to the bank and deferring those payments, obviously, is another piece of the CARES Act. That is a relief that will help with cash flow. But if you've done that and you've already gone through and trimmed where you can and talked to your different vendors to fairly negotiate new terms or unique terms, because clearly they're in the same boat that we are and they're trying to run their operation. I just would continue to be creative and be inventive and be innovative to figure out how you can keep your business relevant, how you can keep your team stimulated, and how you can redefine your business to come out through this differently.
Well, and I agree with you 100%. I mean, one of the things I realize is that people who have employees, which I have only a couple, but they're taking this time to be with their families and getting things ready at home, so that they're taking the opportunity to do the things that they've been wanting to do for years that they couldn't do because they had no time. They work 5 days a week, and then they got the weekends with the games and everything else with the kids, that you just don't have time to do those home projects. That's what I've been doing a lot of. But I'm still pretty busy. But I know I have a lot of friends who are not busy, and I have friends who have companies with a lot of employees. Like one of our lifetime members has a food manufacturer, so they're not. They deal with a lot of hotels and mostly in the event industry, and it's affecting them a lot. So they're looking at creatively at ways to get business, and they reached out to some senior communities and are now feeding senior communities. They're not making money, but they're keeping their employees busy. So they're breaking even because they're charging what it costs them, but they at least are able to bring in some of their employees to work. Because here's the thing: when you have 30 employees and you lose them all, how many are going to come back when you need them if you don't have work for them? So I think that's a big issue that some of us are, not me, but certainly other people are. What do you do with employees when you're not making money? I mean,
right. And, it really tests leadership. This is a true test in leadership. I'm a big preacher of vulnerable leadership. I coach business owners through the work I do with iEvolve Consulting with my team at Timber Industries, which is my other company. We're a national essential company that provides pallets and construction materials. And then we also do Division 6 carpentry. And we can't get on site to a lot of our our manufacturing facilities and to our clients that we sell to. So we've gotten innovative from a way of saying, all right, you're working from home. Let's just have a checkpoint where, what are your pain points? What's working? What's not working? How can we help you? Is there anything virtually or visually that we can do to support you? And these are the times to make those connections and have those real conversations, because everyone's in the same boat. And I think the more vulnerable you are with your team and transparent you are with your team and challenge them to show up differently and maybe make a different phone call, is really, the cool things can happen that way. And you see all the really good stuff that people are doing out there.
Oh, it's amazing. And I think it's a great opportunity to build relationships because you have the time. Whereas before we were so busy doing that we didn't have time to be with people and really, every day I make a phone call to someone I haven't talked to in a while, just because I haven't done that in a long time, or I text them or I message them or something, just to make sure that I'm reaching out to people I haven't talked to. And it's amazing how appreciative they are, because they don't realize, we're all in this together and we're all in the same boat, but everybody's focused on their own issues with, as you said, all the things that we each have going on in our personal and professional lives. One company I heard is doing, one of our members is sending all of their team to different training programs, saying, hey, what would you like to learn while you're at home working? And so they've gotten lists of things that these people want to learn, and not everything is business. One wanted to take a cooking class, and so another one of our members is a cooking teacher, and so they partnered up and they got some teaching going on with online cooking shows. And I think that's just very innovative, and what a way to build loyalty too. So I think that's good. So what are some of the things that we can then do to ramp up our business so we're ready when this is all over? My goodness.
Yes, I'd say the first thing that comes to mind is decluttering. Not only decluttering our desktops and our phones with all the apps that we, fall for, but decluttering a lot of the space in our head. I think that journaling is a huge outlet for that. On one of my coaching sessions today, we asked 2 questions, and they were, what, 3 years from now, right? What's the best, what can you do now to make this the best situation ever, right? So if you're looking at it from 3 years from now, what's the best thing that you can do to make it the best situation ever, to redefine yourself, to redefine your business? And there's different types of questions of like, what do I wish I had known that I didn't going into this, or what's it really teaching me? And, when you look at just jotting down notes and you look back to it, you're going to want to know what you were thinking and what you were feeling, because we will forget, because we'll go right down to the, the tactical day-to-day grind,
Right.
Whatever that looks like for us. But I think for the ramp up, again, if you do have the ability to invest in your team and to invest in yourself, and there's a lot of various resources out there that some are free, some are the paid investment that you might be looking for and wanting for, I'd say go for it. Challenge yourself. And at the flip side of that, also take time to rest and regroup. Don't feel too much pressure to, do the puzzle and cook the perfect recipe and learn this and learn that. You have to really kind of take that time to rest and regroup and relax, which is hard for a lot of the A-type business personalities out there. So, if you have the extra time and money to invest in your strengthening your operations, maybe it's just bringing in someone who can look at your business with that objective lens and say, think about this, or did you think about this, or maybe you could trim this out or redefine this. Those are the important things right now.
Yeah, I totally agree. And you know what I'm finding, I think it's going to be interesting, because you talked about, writing down what we're experiencing. I'm wondering, first of all, how many books are going to be written during that come out after this is all over, and how many babies are going to be born.
Right. Right. They keep on saying babies or divorces, right?
Exactly. Well, that too, but I was trying to be positive.
Right. I know, right?
No, but you're absolutely right. I have a friend who's a divorce attorney, and she's like already getting phone calls.
Oh, boy.
You know,
Right.
that,
Well,
those
but
close.
to that point, though, I think that, I've always come about this with my team as we all do life.
Mhm.
And it felt like for a while that, you had to hide the kids in the back of the Zoom call, or, maybe your partner in the household didn't appreciate fully what you did, and you didn't know how to communicate it because you felt like you had to do everything. And now there's a new appreciation there for household partnerships and helping each other since everybody's at home. So, to keep it positive, I think that we all do life. And now more than ever, I think that people really appreciate that and respect that.
Well, if you watch any of the late night talk shows, you see these fathers like Jimmy Fallon with his children all over him and they're coloring and stuff while he's doing the show.
Right.
And so he sees, this is reality, people. We're all the same. We all think that these people are different, but in reality, we all go through the same thing. So I think that's been a really great thing about this. I mean, if you can find what I call a silver lining, that is one of them. I think you're absolutely right about the appreciation. Yeah. My husband loves to cook, and he hasn't been able to much. He used to own restaurants, and now he's works for an environmental company, but he's been cooking just about every day, which is great because I don't like to cook. I cook because I have to, but not because I love to.
Right.
So having someone who really enjoys it, I go, do you want any help? He goes, no, I'm fine. I'm like, okay, that's good.
What's his favorite dish so far? What's your favorite dish, I guess, that you've eaten?
He's Sicilian, so almost
Okay.
everything is, Italian, Mediterranean. He makes amazing snapper frances and pastas, and unusual pastas. Like tonight, I think we're actually making homemade pizza tonight, but usually we have like broccoli with ziti or something, just something. Try to be a little healthy. It's not always the red sauce, but it's always a pasta. And 2 days a week we have pasta, which is okay. 2 days I can handle it. We just ride our bikes more, or we swim more that day. Just, my goal is not to lose weight through this. It's just not to gain any weight, so anyway, so then the next question is, how do we stay mentally tough and be a good, solid leader for our team? Because we're all scared. None of us really know what's going to happen. We can guess and hope, but really we're all very unsure. So what do you suggest?
Yes. And, if you have ever lost a loved one and gone through the grieving process, there are emotions in you that erupt and come out that you've never even experienced. And then there's multiple emotions that just collide and then become this new emotion. And the parallel there is so interesting, because all of these new emotions, all of these collided emotions, one day we're good. Well, actually, 1 second we feel like we're good, and then the next we're scared. We feel that our kids miss their friends. My 10-year-old's just begging me to go back to school because they just miss their routine.
Yeah.
So I think that as far as, there you go, the chat room. So I think as far as staying mentally tough, you have to carve out time for yourself. That is alone time. I mean, lately a shower to me feels like a spa treatment, and I've been enjoying that.
I'm laughing because I get it.
You know what I mean? I put one of those like loofah, like foot scrubbers in my cart, and man, if I'm not getting the a little spa treatment, and I appreciate it. I really do. I think that staying healthy, as far as mentally tough, you have to move your body 30 minutes a day. You have to stay hydrated. That means lots of water. For those that like our adult beverages, even more water. And then trying to really, keep, it's a new schedule. I mean, everybody's sleep schedules are off, maybe rising a little later, staying up a little later. So trying to stay to some small simple step schedule without, you know, freaking ourselves out more than some maybe.
Well, I found that I have more routine now than
Good.
before. So I don't know if but that's because we try to do our morning walk or a bike ride. We
Great.
jump in the pool afterwards to limber up, or if we want to swim, and because it's so hot, and I'm in Florida, so
Right.
it's pretty hot. And then we have our breakfast or our brunch, depending on what time it is.
Right.
But
Right.
because I drink wine, I drink water in before, in between, and after. A lot of water. So I get it. Yeah.
Yes.
Still
I mean,
doesn't
I
come up
used
with
to
the
be a
weight
5
gain.
a.m. riser, and
Oh,
I'm
no.
not anymore,
No.
which
no.
I'm okay with. I'm enjoying that right now. I'll probably go back to it one day, but I'm really enjoying
Yeah.
that. So you
It's
just have to find
funny.
your rhythm.
You do. And whatever happens after all of this, it's what it's supposed to be anyway. And I think a lot of people are going to find a new normal. I mean, we already are, but I don't know that anybody's going to want to go back exactly the way things were before, because you see, we're getting to know ourselves. We're getting to know our families and our friends. And I think for most people, it's going to be, it's like an awakening. At least I hope so.
And I've been doing the one word check-in, obviously, with everybody, and it's interesting. I don't know if it's just happens to be, the people that I hang out with, but they've all had positive words to say. One person said, kinetic. We were in a Zoom networking. I just threw out a Zoom networking happy hour, and a lot of the business owners didn't even know each other, and here we were. And it's just interesting when you can kind of have a meeting virtually outside of your tactical meetings as a safe zone and a judgment-free zone to say, okay, this is what I'm going through, that what kind of kinetically can happen and spin out of these types of meetings that are great.
Well, and I've had that experience too. And what I've noticed is that I've gotten to know people better that way than I did at any networking event. Because in a networking event, everybody's in a hurry to do this, do that, do the other, and you may talk to one or two people if you're good at networking. And then there's the people who mass network. I call it drive-by networking. And so having these intimate calls on Zoom and House Party and whatever tool you're using has been really very fun. And I've tried to attend a few. I don't want to get bombarded, but 2 or 3 a week is plenty for me. And I used to go to 16 meetings a month, so I can tell you 2 or 3 is. If I do 2, actually 2 is plenty.
Right.
Other than my own phone call. So, all right, I want to hit back on something that you mentioned about children and everything, but we didn't really talk about it. I think that some people may be wondering how they're supposed to homeschool their kids while they're working. I mean, how do you do that at the same time? My daughter, who has 2 children at home and both, learning, trying to figure it all out and taking the classes online, she's like, Mommy, I can't monitor them. I have to go to work. She has a roofing company and it's an essential service.
Absolutely.
So she has nobody at home. She's a single mom. And so it's like, how do you do that?
Yes, it's been a huge challenge for parents. I have an 8 and a 10-year-old, 2nd and 3rd grade. And what I realized, I just had to flip my schedule, and I was at home and I really blocked the morning. They're on Zoom calls. Their school's been really organized since day one. But I think once you get the rhythm, I think that parents are now feeling a little bit better about things. And it's so interesting because everybody's homeschooling, but some people everybody has different kids, different amount of kids, different age ranges, some at various different schools. So I think everyone's really managing as best they can. The teachers have been amazing. They've been, they're like technology spent as well. And they've just been incredible. So I think it's that flexibility and that picking your battles and knowing that if they're getting that homeschool structure, but still doing a lot of the family outings like walks and board games and, really just teaching them to be solid character, good humans, they're going to be fine. They will catch up in school and we will all somehow survive this. I actually had one of my clients today, she owns a tutoring company, and we did an Instagram live today to talk about this topic because my mom and dad friends, they've been, we've all been pulling our hair out. And,
Yeah.
She's just like, if you've got that solid 2 hours of time in the day, just really supplement it with as best you can right now.
Yeah. And I think they're going to learn more life lessons, which is good. You can't do that if you're sitting in a classroom all day. So it's actually no, I don't think it's a bad thing, but I don't homeschool any kids now because they're all grown. So, but I know that a lot of our members and a lot of our listeners do. So thank you for that. Okay. So what's been the most surprising, interesting, or unexpected thing that you've experienced during this time, Annette?
The most unexpected thing?
Surprising, interesting, or unexpected? Or all of the above.
Okay, I have to say that I am always blown away by entrepreneurs and business owners, and to see how tenacious, how they persevere, how they're creative and innovative, how they find a way to serve and do good. I have a woman who's a dress designer, high-end dress designer for women, and she pivoted completely to start making masks. Not just around the clock donating them, because obviously her business wasn't there right now because the weddings and all of those different high-end events, aren't happening. It's those types of unexpected moments, I think, that have surprised me, continued to fill my tank and serve my passion of like helping support business owners through this, continuing to really just be ultimately impressed and empowered and surrounded by these awesome people that are just doing great things that are out there. I think there have been so many really guardian angels and amazing moments through it all.
I do love social media because it is highlighting a lot of that, and which is really nice because you can't depend on the news to tell you anything these days. And
Right.
I'm not going to go there, but so I agree with you. I think it's been beautiful, and I love the creativity of people, what they're coming up with, and how they're managing through all of this has been really amazing. So what's the apart from all of this, what's the best business advice you've ever received that you'd like to pass on to others?
Well, the one that comes to mind first is advice from my dad, who is a serial entrepreneur and 80 years old and still works 7 days a week.
Wow.
It's going to sound silly. I guess all my advice really comes from him. I don't know. He always said to me, Annette, everybody puts their pants on the same way, one leg at a time. So, and that's what I think we're really seeing right now is that we all are humans. Don't be afraid to make that phone call to that person because they're human too. They're going through things right now. If you're in a situation where you think that one introduction or one ask can make or break your day or make or break your business, everybody's human and going through what we're going through. So I think asking with the right ask and showing up is so important right now. And showing up is on the social media and the different platforms and in these Zoom calls and in your meetings. So understanding your right ask and that we're all human and showing up is really, really important.
And I love the saying that if you don't ask, the answer is always no.
That's right. You never know. You never know. And
so
you never know. So.
Great advice. I want to meet your dad someday. I'm going to be your dad someday.
He also said common sense. He also said, we also said, don't take any wooden nickels, which I certainly understand that one.
Figure that one out? Oh, yeah. Well, you have to look that one up to wonder what the heck a wooden nickel is in the first place.
No.
And if you're under 40 on this phone call, you probably have no clue, or maybe under 30. I don't know. Anyway, so what are you currently reading?
What do I currently read?
What are you currently reading?
Okay, so on my book stand is Traction. I just brought that one back out. Which is a great book. I did have a book about scaling that I was reading, Scaling for Growth. I've put that one away for now, because right now I think the scaling is really finding your balance, not scaling for growth. So that scaling, really making sure everything's floating and moving and everybody's good. So Traction is there. The 5-Second Rule Journal is always a good go-to. Mel Robbins.
Oh yeah.
She's
What about that one?
great. She's stayed very positive out there. I do have a couple of, I have the, I read, a passage from the Bible a day, Bible by day. That was my mom's, who has passed. So that's just a special, kind of pick me up at night that I look at, and whether the passage makes sense to me or not that day, I at least think of her and be with her. Yeah, it's funny you asked that, because literally last night I went through my stack and I just put all of them in bed with me, and nothing was working, nothing was sticking. And then I picked up, the juicy novel, and I fell asleep in the first sentence. So,
well, that was good. That was a good one to read to go to sleep.
right.
So what do you do for fun and relaxation?
So hanging out with my kids. I mean, my kids are so fun, and two busy, active, awesome, big-hearted boys that are extroverts, like my husband, who need a lot of me right now. And we've been mountain biking. We've been doing a lot of mountain biking. Our house is near a trail, and off this trail are these cool mountain bike trails that no one is on. So it's been our vitamin D, it's been our sanity check, it's been a great way to hike and do a family activity every day. And today I'm in our office. We bought an office building a year ago, and no one is here from my team, but my husband kind of kicked me out of the home office and said, you need to go regroup, you're running a little thin. So he was at home with the boys today doing the homeschooling, and took the boys for a mountain bike. And I've actually enjoyed this. Kind of feels like a mini vacation, just being here with you guys and having some quiet time here. So I think you just, like you said, you just minute by minute, day by day, you have to really kind of appreciate just what's in front of you. You have a different mindset about things.
So true. So any last tips?
I'd say, honestly, for the business owners and leaders out there, I'd say you have to dig a little deeper right now, and being real with yourself about your feelings, and going through those feelings, and checking in with your team, checking in with your clients, and checking in with your community is extremely important right now. But making sure that you're finding time to be at peace with this reset. It's not going to go back to the way it is. And I think a lot of us are really appreciating that and finding our new groove and our new rhythm, and finding peace in the reset, and embracing the new opportunities at hand. And you can do this, and we're doing this. And just stay healthy and stay sane, and enjoy it as best you can.
Great advice. So how can our audience connect with you, Annette?
Okay, so I'm on LinkedIn, which seems to be easy, Annette Walter. On Instagram, I go live daily on my Instagram page and my iEvolve consulting page on Facebook. So on Instagram, my handle is @iEvolve Daily. And on Facebook, I am iEvolve Consulting, and also Timber Industries. So if you just look me up on Facebook, I've got a great group called Masters of Entrepreneurship. It's a private group on Facebook if anybody's interested. Yeah, I think if you just look up Annette Walter, I think there's an actress named Annette Walter. I think I rank way below her, but you might see a picture of me and can find me,
I
right?
never heard of her, only you, so you're good.
Yeah.
Good. You're good. Well, I will also put that in the follow-up message and let them know how to get a hold of you too, because I think I have that information. If not, I'll have maybe Nicole from your office can send it to me.
Okay,
It'll be
great.
nice. That way people can connect with you.
Yes, and I'm happy to help in any way possible. This has been wonderful, Heidi. I appreciate you and your community and what you're doing here. This is great.
Thank you. I'm very excited. Thank you so much for being with us, Annette. And to just remind everybody, if they haven't gotten their checklist, Make Money Online Freelancing, go to the WeekI confirmation page to grab your copy today. Members get the Make Money Online series, which is 18 checklists. Non-members can join before May 30th and save 25%. I'll put all of that on the confirmation page. And again, I just want to say thank you to Annette Walter, from CEO of iEvolve Consulting. Thank you so much for being with us today, Annette.
Thank you. This was fun. This was
Thank
great.
you. Take care, everyone. Have a great day.
You too. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.